And this is a mistake I made once before too. I didn't have myself on video. Well, we don't have any at-home watchers, so I'm not going to introduce who is here, but in terms of around the table. But Kathy, first meeting, you want to make a statement, or you want to reserve it for later?
No, I'll reserve comments.
Well, thanks for coming, really. Yeah, thanks for coming.
I have a cell phone at the moment. I have an old Nikon film camera that I haven't used in forever, but I'm going to be doing some shopping, but I thought I would come to the meeting first.
Yeah.
And I know that they get, pretty esoteric in the cost, but I thought I'd come and just see what's going on and.
Well, don't.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to be getting a new cell phone and talk to the people.
Mic working okay for you?
Yeah, I moved the computer that was over here because
Oh, that's okay. I was just charging that up.
Oh,
I'm not using it anymore. I just wanted to know if it's still working for
yeah.
you. No, you're not. You just don't
Yeah.
need it? Okay. Okay, well, I got what I needed out of it, so thank you.
And if this stuff up here is yours, don't walk off without it.
That actually belongs to CIGP.
Okay, all right, no problem then.
I'll put it back in where it belongs.
Okay, thank you. Announcements. Lynn? Okay, I'll go. I have one for Larry. Stephen?
Yeah, it's not exactly an announcement, but I'm gonna be going up to Stolen Heights on Sunday. And happy to see anybody else who wanted to shoot up there.
And where? Silver Heights.
What it is a bird raison is breeding endangered waterfowl. And
It's not gonna let me in on Zoom. It's asking for a password.
I took security off.
Lots of beautiful waterfowl.
Just share screen.
It's not that place, it's not the
But it's a wonderful place to shoot. You're basically inside enclosure with a bird that's appearing at the teenagers.
I'm going to send you an email.
And if you're saying any kind of camera will work fine. Yeah, you know, it's all about the shoot. It's great.
Did you get what you needed? When are you planning to go?
I'm gonna arrive there about 11 on Sunday.
Sunday?
Hopefully. It keeps telling me I need a,
Steve, which place were you talking about just now?
password.
Oh, where we went that day, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Good. Okay.
Well, I think we need to back up a second. We don't have anybody at home, but anybody that talks back there is probably not going to get picked up for the video. So maybe we need that microphone after all. You know where it is? Let me make an announcement that comes from Larry. There is in Winston-Salem, starting March 1, and for 2 months, an exhibit by Imogene Cunningham, 70 images starting in 1907. And I didn't look her up to vet her, but I think she is one of the big ones from days gone by. And he has suggested it for a field trip. And in addition to the exhibit, there apparently is Reynolds House, which I think is also an historic. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Lynn.
I got nothing from you.
So, we are set to go for another exhibit here. And the date to hang is the day, Saturday before Easter, I think it's March 31st. It's the March
Where you can
31st.
see it.
Okay.
Back in the window of for the kitchen.
So, it's just open for people who are attending the meetings. So if they're not active members, they don't have to hang the pictures. Probably up to 4 weeks, so we did last time. So, if you have too many, the other caveat is the pictures have to have been taken, ideally, since the last exhibit. Not because you don't want, you can't hang anything in the issue. When was the last exhibit? That's in 20. We started 2023, January. I guess that's okay, as long as it wasn't anything you exhibited last. Oh, yeah. And then it'll hang, it'll be up to May. So she wants.
That's the 31st.
Saturday's, I think, 30th.
And I was trying to help Bill, and we solved that problem. The exhibit would open on Easter Sunday. And that means there's going to be a good crowd through here, no doubt.
This is why I asked if we could put up the date. And then we'll have to plan, or we should, I think, plan to have a reception on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, whatever you want to do, sometime after that. And if 1 or 2 people would want to help, hang pictures, if you happen to be out of town for Easter or whatever, let me know, and otherwise, if you are going to be out of town and you have pictures you want to display, just get them to me before you leave.
I'll do that, because I will be away, so I'll have to help hang, but
Okay.
I gotta something event.
Okay.
And one of the key criterion is wires on the back. We can do them the other way, but it's a lot easier if they have wires as hangers. And we're going to order, with some of the money that has been left over from the original purchase of the hardware, some different kinds of hooks that I think will solve some of the problems we had last time, mainly with my stuff, which leaned away from the top too far. And this new hanger will resolve that issue, I think. But we've got a lot to be proud of in this group. And don't for a second be shy about putting your things in this. Please do. It's, you know, we have some of that.
Yeah, they're just long, so a wire can have more than.
Josie?
Oh, I see.
And those little, I call them rubber baby buggy bumpers, but you know those things you can get at the hardware store to put on the bottom corners of the frames on the backside, they
Yeah.
help keep them from tilting overmuch.
Yeah.
And also protect the wall.
Yeah. Well, those hooks will keep that from happening.
Oh, okay.
And we learned about this the first time around, and I had to put blocks of ugly styrofoam on the bottom that were not as elegant as what Josie mentioned. But okay, any other announcements?
I have a question about the hanging date. Will there be a window of time that it's scheduled for?
I think we did 10 to 2 last time, but the earlier the better, because we really can't start organizing where things need to go until we have everything that is going to go up. So, all right.
I will participate. I hope everybody will submit some pictures.
Oh, and one other thing, and I was working with Bill, and I don't know if you said this, Lynn, but if you have more than 4 pictures that you would like to display, I have multiple bins, exhibit bins, that you can just flip through a bunch of pictures. I don't know what to call them, canvas bins. And if you have things that can go in sleeves so that it's not just the bare picture, Or if you don't care, you could bring more than four, just that, and I would not bring more than four originally, but when we have the reception would be the prime time. Tom,
Sorry I'm late.
no, not a problem.
Be sure you have your name on the back of it. Because it's like 20 questions just for the city, and ideally a title.
Okay, well, now that Tom's here, we can get started. Bill, you're up.
Okay, what I was just gonna do is kind of give a little demonstration of Topaz. Some of the things that it can do. It's just kind of an overview, so we're not gonna come away experts because I'm far from an expert as well. But when Topaz started, they had these individual modules. One would be for sharpening, one would be for denoising, one was for upscaling, meaning making the file larger than it originally was, so that there's more detail in it. What I'm going to be showing here is the package that they developed just a short time ago called Photo AI 2, which combines all three of them together so that you have everything in one neat little package. I do have the individuals on here, and I will show, I think Helen wanted to see the sharpen.
Yeah.
So we can do that as well. Topaz itself right now, list price is about $200. They often go on sale for $150, $125. You know, if it's something that you even, want to consider, I think if you get just the smaller modules, like if you do the Sharpen pretty much has sharpening in it as well as denoising in it, which is really the two kind of important things. And as camera images get larger and more robust, that's probably pretty much what you need. It's sometimes the older cameras where you have a lot of noise that, maybe just a little higher ISO or things like that. But otherwise, as the images get better, this will hopefully have to correct less. And that's what I've noticed just by using it, that I've become a better photographer because I see what it's fixing.
Do you consider the Topaz denoising and what other sharpening as better than Photoshop Lightroom or Photoshop Elements?
I do not use Photoshop, so I can't tell that.
Okay.
I mean, if you listen to the people on YouTube, they tend to think that some are better than others, but then there's other software packages other than Photoshop. It goes back and forth. So instead of trying to follow a moving target, I see enough people saying Topaz is, they're really dedicated to it. They keep making improvements to it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
I have found that it's better than Affinity and Photoshop Element. And the other thing, if you can find the old separate one, I picked it up for $50, so it's cheap.
Have you used,
It's iffy. That's why I wanted Bill to talk about it. It's iffy to me. Probably me.
do you happen to know, I think with Topaz that you can use it on more than one computer. And if that's the case, then, I would be happy, somebody wanted to, use it for a month or so to give you codes to use it. And I think you can try it for a month.
Yeah, it's a 30-day risk-free, play around with it.
Yeah, I think it's great myself.
Yeah.
And
if you simply Google Topaz Labs, and it'll come up and it'll show you the individual programs as well as the photo AI, which is kind of a combination. be careful, keep remembering the word photo, because they also have things like publisher and other things out there too. Just remember photo. And all it is simply to bring in a photo. Now, up in the corner here, it lets me move around. So I can see what the before and after is, and maybe the part of the image that I'm the most interested in. This can change to you can go wider out, you get closer. So you can focus on a particular part of the image by moving this box up here. So right now I'm just gonna leave that there. And for what it did a little sharpening of the subject and something about face recovery. So as you move it across, you can see some subtle changes, but not much. Now, I'm just gonna make it do everything. I'm gonna make it do the noise, and I'm gonna make it do the sharpening. Now, if you look at the nose, it's hard to see up there. But on my screen, you'll see the nose becoming much sharper. The area between the teeth becomes much sharper.
There's a little, if it's not on my screen, there's a little blemish on her nose that you can see clearly once it's been worked, that you can't see before. Well, it significantly changes on my screen.
Yeah, it's pretty significant on mine too. Just the monitor up there is, I think, a little tough to see. Let's see if we can really.
Yep.
And when it comes to the sharpening, you can, what this is doing, when you touch on the subject only, it tries to determine what the main subject is out there that you're trying to work on. This can be, why is it?
Well,
I was playing with this thing before, and it was working just fine. Let's see. Oh,
there's a toggle
there
there.
it is. Now, if I want to add things that are going to be aimed at or being sharpened and denoised, I now have the ability to paint over additional subjects. Let's see.
But that feature wasn't in the original single unit, was it? That feature wasn't in the original single sharpen, was it? The
Single
ability?
modulator.
No, this is just an original from probably an iPhone. Nothing's been done to this image.
I'm saying that feature of selecting the image you want to sharpen
Oh,
wasn't
this is
on
the photo AI, the whole package.
Yeah, it wasn't on the old, wasn't on the old one.
I beg to differ, it was, it is.
Please show me how.
Yeah, just inside sharpening, you can do that.
I thought you meant this picture.
Bill, would you use another app for like haze reduction?
I tend to use that in the Photoshop elements.
Yeah.
Because I really like what haze reduction, haze removal does, just to the contrast and the saturation. But here you can actually, let's see. You can go in here and you can. You go and you can paint another subject that you want it to consider when it's going through the process of looking at sharpening and denoising and things like that. And what it'll also do is, if you have a picture that's really small, say if it's less than a megabyte, it will turn around and trigger this to say, hey, for a better image, I'll upscale it, is what they call it. So it'll make it a larger image. Just from that alone, you'll start seeing it become one step clearer and workable. And then as it goes into the sharpening and denoising it, it just continues to get better. There's a number of different options back here for the detecting the subject. If you just wanted the background, you wanted to work with it. You're going to be doing portraits. It's going to be looking at kind of people and faces, landscapes. So there's a number of different options. Then if you just want to affect the sky, it'll figure out what the sky is. But I leave that default. I kind of let it go do its own thing. Yeah. I wish I could show it better up there, because that's really bright up there, but the image changes pretty dramatically. No, it's not going to be working here.
Well, as a testimonial, sharpening this program has saved me more than once. And if it hadn't been for selective sharpening, there were pictures that I would not have been able to do anything with. The other thing is Gigapixel, which is the enlargement program. Helen, the picture that you sent me that was about this big in terms of its file, and if you blew it up even to 50% more, it was still fuzzy, but running Gigapixel turned a kilobyte file into a huge megapixel. And the result for, what was it, 17 by something? And it was as sharp as you can imagine, all because of Gigapixel.
It was bigger than that. I think I was aiming it much bigger than that.
Yeah.
You had it flawlessly.
Well, one other thing on Topaz products, you buy them, but you don't own them. You own them for 1 year, and then you can upgrade for a discounted, pretty heavily discounted version. But you can continue to use the old version if you want. They never take the original vision, but if you want the most recent one, upgrading it's necessary after 1 year. So
That's exactly what I did. My upgrades ended in December. But it's almost like Photoshop illness. I had like 2015 at one time. I didn't upgrade until 2020. So, unless there's some major updates that affect your camera.
So where are we on the old one? I've got 4.0. Where
for what?
for the old separate one for sharpen?
Oh,
Okay.
I think that one of the differences has become masking, which Bill was doing, outlining.
Yeah,
But past that, I don't know.
I was wondering what the number was.
Oh.
To see how far behind I am.
If you bought the product, and you go to Topaz webpage, you can look at your account and you can see what ones you own and what the version is.
I've got 4.0.
Well,
But I'm wondering what the.
I have no clue. I have no clue. Yeah.
It's-
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
did you find the sharpening tool on this was better than the other software that you used?
Well, I use Elements too.
Okay,
And
all
it,
right.
and in the past, I was always using unsharp mask. And Graham and I went around and round about what the difference was on sharpening and sharp, what did I just say? Yeah. But I will confess that I'm using Sharpen on Topaz for virtually everything. And it may look over sharpened to people, but I like it. And Kathy, in terms of phone photos, the 13 and up, I think those cameras take really good pictures. And you can make, and they're sharp, but you apply sharpen to them and it just jumps out at you.
Oh, great.
So, okay.
So, wait a minute, Bill, on the upscaling.
Yeah.
Is there a limit on the dimensions for the photograph?
The only thing that I've seen in there is how many times it's going to increase it.
Yeah.
Sixfold, I think.
Okay, because the one that I use, and I don't know how, there it is, but it's free, and the limit is 1,500 pixels. If it's bigger than 1,500 pixels, it won't fool it. But like I said, it's free, so I use it. And also, let's see, one other question I had. Oh, on the, like, on denoise, is it a on or off sort of thing, completely
You can
denoise?
adjust it.
Okay, so you don't have to,
Yeah, even
some
with the sharpen,
places-
this is just kind of a presentation to you, what it thinks you want to see.
right,
But you can, increase the
add, you can add
noise,
some.
you can lower it, you can do,
Okay, good, thank you.
that's. You can see, this one might show you a little more, let's see. You can see that, the string on that one,
Right. No question about it.
yeah, I mean. And even, this shows it much more than that other one. Come over here, and you can see how it just really blurs out. Yeah, this is the good example. And
Yeah,
then,
that's real obvious.
yeah. Let's see.
One of the things I found when you were asking about some of the other programs, just in terms of time, on at least my computer, which is a kind of a mid-range laptop, the Topaz is a good bit faster than some of the other ones.
And the one thing that I'll really mention, because I think I'm stuck in it right now, I did a lot of upgrading to this laptop. I have 2 terabytes of memory, I have 32 gigs of RAM and stuff like that. But the most important thing for this to be really fast is a graphic card. And this thing could take up to 2 minutes for me to save an image. Where when I've seen it online, I mean, it just whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's all because of this graphics card,
When we had to buy a new desktop, and so what I did was look up the recommendation for all of that, for the computer configuration for using Lightroom, and then went shopping based on that.
Yes.
I haven't quite got around to buying Lightroom, I mean, subscribing to it, but if I have to do instead of, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
What a difference that can make.
I tore this apart and put the new everything in it, and then when I got the Topaz AI, it hit the wall, just in the saving process. Now, it actually did the denoising pretty quickly and everything else, but boy, when I go to save it, and I see people online, it's saving in 20 seconds or something like that, and I'm taking 2 minutes. Not that I use it that much, but I don't like to be slow. And then, once you get done here, you can actually save it in a number of any, oops, no, no, stop. You can save it, you know, as the JPEG, like I wrote it in as a JPEG. You can output it as a TIFF, you can output it as a PNG, you know, any of the formats that you might want to work with. But, and what it does, it keeps your original image out there. It puts an extension on it that says, oh, this went through Photo AI, and it saves it, so you have the original, and then you have the new one.
Okay. We have 20 photos to get through. And and to put a cap on this, if you have any questions, I'm sure Bill would be happy to try and answer, as would I, and anybody else that's using this. So just reach out. All right. I need to collapse this for a second. Thanks, Bill.
Anything to help people spend money?
You want a retainer to cut that.
All right. Where's my folder?
One thing I like looking at, one thing to add on Topaz is sometimes, and I don't know why, it adds what I consider artifacts, and it can, under circumstances that I don't understand, produce a picture that I don't like at all. Do you have that happen?
I've had that happen, and sometimes it may have looked at the entire image, and it decided how much sharpening it was, but it may have been too much for a particular part of it. And that's when you can go to that masking and just do part of it separately, or you can just go and reduce the strength of the sharpening and just let it do it again. Just keep moving it until maybe it gets better.
All right. Yeah,
Which one?
the guy with the beard. And Kathy, the challenge for a month ago was news reporting or journalism. And that's where they'll carry these photos over from that challenge. So go ahead, Bob.
So I saw those utility trucks on the right, and I wondered what they were. So since I'm now a seasoned photojournalist, I want to interview these two people. And the interview took about 15 seconds. And I said, what are the trucks for? And he said, they're putting up new poles, new electric, I think it was electric.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my interview. It was such a quick shot. I took one picture. There wasn't much time because I didn't want to hold these guys up to do a whole lot. I took it on aperture priority, 58 millimeters and 1/600th shutter speed, 5.6 aperture. So that was it. Just a really quick pick. And I think I probably could have done better if I had taken more time. At least I hope I would have done. So.
Bob, the quality of your photos has jumped. And one of the big areas is color saturation. There is on elements in that same path for not sharpening, but for shadows, highlights, brightness, etc. There's a color slider that you can use for the whole picture. or you can use it for different colors in that picture. And red is one of them that when I get red in a picture, especially the bigger it gets, you need to tone it down because that's a magnet for your eye. It overwhelms everything else. And in this one, the only suggestion would be to get into that slider on color, hue, and saturation and tone down green or maybe green and yellow. Sometimes grass will get too saturated, but again,
Yeah, well, this is I'll shout out here for, one of the problems I have is I'm shade blind. So I often use my wife to, what do you think of this? So,
that's an honor, yeah.
yeah, anyway, that,
Well, a good photo. And this second one is,
Turn your computer around, Mike, and let us see the colors.
it's, they're a little bit, uh-oh. What did I do?
The sky is kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found the blue nice.
Last two. It is, it's a red.
Yeah, I managed to disconnect when I moved it,
it
but
was really a bright day.
yeah. Well, it's not as bright on my laptop, but all right. This is,
And then, yeah, these are the trucks that made me want to do this extensive interview. So, yeah, that was it. There was also aperture priority, wide angle.
the exposure on this one's perfect, I think.
Good.
I like that, you know, all the trucks behind you, just telling you something's going on. over there.
Yeah, that was kind of
Either
the
a
whole,
hurricane came through and they're,
yeah, what are they doing?
Colossal traffic.
and those are the same trucks.
Yeah.
In the background.
Yes.
On that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah.
It created a massive traffic jam.
Yeah.
Particular.
Yeah, they
And,
did.
Yeah, I have some inside info, which I'll tell you about when I get to my.
Well, the guy that was holding the stop sign, I think he took a cigarette break about,
Is this that what they do in this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
The next two are Chuck's, if it will do it.
Well, this one I did a collage of, about 3 images. This is from, I believe it was 2019. It was the height of the flag controversy, flag and then statue. There was a bunch of Confederate flag wavers who came into town. I found them kind of interesting. So that top left group of guys, they were in that parking lot where the brewery is now, the Moose Brewery. And this gentleman in the lower left was pontificating about why they were there, and he was just full of himself. But I just love that "Get her done" behind him on his truck there.
Get her done.
Included him. They were just, I couldn't choose just one image that I thought depicted what was going on there. So I did these 3, and it's the group of guys who really, I haven't seen, they haven't been around. There's still a few flags around, but I guess now that the statue's gone, they're not back in town making their case. But then the lower right was the counter demonstration. A lot of folks in. I think one sign says "Give it back" to the Doors of the Confederacy, which is who put up that statue. It's right there. So, and I got in trouble with the police that day because I had a pocket knife in a sheath on my belt, and the cop didn't like that I had that. So but he didn't take it from me. He just said, "All right, I'll go get rid of it," and that was good enough for him.
Oh.
So here we go, Bob. This was down my neck of the woods, and this was like probably a week after I think what was going on up on Hillsborough Street there. And it was, I was talking to a young man who was one of the flag crew. And so my idea here was to, I just was shooting
aperture, priority f8, and I think on auto ISO, so it did what it did. It was such a bright day, just like when you took your spot.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to get a big truck in there, like a dump, because there's a lot of truck traffic that comes through Pittsburgh from the south to the north and vice versa. And this is just a depiction of, there isn't a traffic jam here, but it gives you the idea of a lot of traffic slowly moving, and these guys are doing these lines. So the thing I was going to say before is that talking to this young man who was on the flight crew, he gave me some information that there was four persons on the line crew, and so his company was separate from the line crew, but they worked with the line crews, to manage the traffic. And apparently, so he felt free enough to talk out of school about these four people, and he said that there was one guy who was a real piece of work, and he didn't really, he didn't like that they had to follow the DOT recommendations. So he would just space things out the way he thought looked the best, and so DOT would frequently shut them down. And in fact, DOT was really unhappy with how they did stuff up in town, because there were traffic lights and they weren't, managing the traffic through the lights, and there was really a mess going through town. So that was just interesting to find out that there was one guy who just thought he knew better, and the state didn't like to be told how to operate, and because of that, he was causing a lot of problems for people and for his company, because they would shut him down, they make him go home.
I'll show you who's important.
Yeah, he didn't care. Made the job take longer, therefore cost more, I'm sure. But anyway, that was my stuff.
Yeah.
Let's show chaos in all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the little dust coming up from that truck, and
Well, good reporting, Chuck. The next two are bills. And my caption for this is, I hope the fox was okay. Well, oh, I have three, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this was down in Southern Pines. They had something down there called Hounds on the Grounds. And what happens is that out from somewhere, they show up. Yeah, this guy in the red jacket is
Pink,
pink.
it's pink, they call that pink.
Really?
It might look red, but yes, it's
Oh,
pink.
that's nice.
Oh, yeah, and he's kind of the head guy out there. And as you can see, some of the dogs are looking up at him to say, okay, what are we supposed to do? So he certainly has command of the
They're all
dogs.
looking at him.
That's a good shot.
Yeah.
Got him on the third there, nice.
Nicely composed.
Yes.
Got him on the third,
Yep,
And I like there's a magnolia tree in the background.
yeah.
and it was pouring.
Oh, yeah.
It was pouring.
No.
My poor Z8 is just getting sloshed up. But
You kept the
it
lens,
is weatherproof.
lens clear.
You can't even see the rain.
I like the way you got the dogs, some of them looking up.
Yeah.
I'd like to be able to see the rain, Bill, and I can show you how to do that.
Now, what happens is once they come through and past everybody, they go to the side of the building. It's actually a house, and all the hounds gather, and all the people on horses gather. And what I did is I decided to make this a tight shot. Some people would say, well, you should have the foot in, you should have the head in further and stuff. But I wanted to look at it as a perspective of being behind them and what they're looking toward. So I took a little different, angle on it, and I was willing to cut off a little bit of them. So this is like a gathering place where all the hounds get together, all the people on horses, the guy in the pink jacket all get together, and they prepare for the hunt. And these were all shot at 5.6, shutter speed about 1/320th of a second. The ISO I let float around to about 6400 or 7200. So
So, hey, Bill, was that black and white and then you made the
Yeah,
color?
you did the select.
Oh, you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, put it back.
I've been wanting to do that, I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, what I did is I just took his jacket. I kept it, you know, I selected it, then I did invert, so that everything behind it would change, and just put it on black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
So the horses changed,
Yeah.
everything changed except, his jacket.
That's great.
You did that in elements too, right?
Uh,
Is that what you used?
ooh,
for it?
now look at, see, there's frames on here. You know what that means?
Yeah, good use of frames.
Tom got me started on the,
Yeah.
frames.
But the other one was
You
done
can
in
do frames in
too.
elements too.
I did back and forth.
Well, you taught somebody,
It's either yet.
Tom taught somebody else, and Larry had a picture he posted on Facebook.
Oh,
I think it was Facebook that had a frame around it, and I commented, so that's a good thing.
yeah, now this one, is them leaving, you know, they're now going on a hunt, so, you know, the idea of the journalism is, you know, that the arrival, the congregation, now they're out for the hunt.
Just
Beautiful.
Yeah, but all of them, all of these were F5.6, 1/3/20th, and then the ISO just adjusted on its own. Because what I did is I shot it in manual, and I said, I want you to be at 5.6, I want you to be at 1/3/20th. Because I didn't want it to go too low, because then I might end up with some movement. So I controlled both the shutter speed and the aperture, and I let the ISO have fun.
So doing that on manual, you set the two parameters,
Right,
and by the ISO, it would keep the exposure, but it would adjust that in order.
And what was the shutter speed?
1/3/20th. Just enough that maybe I'd show a little movement, but
Nice.
All right. Obviously Linda's not here, but these next two are hers, and let's give her some feedback in case she watches it online.
I can tell you a little bit about hers. She was over in France and there were, she was in France. This is the same trip. I can't remember if she showed the one of the accordionists on the boat to this group or not.
Yeah.
This is on the same trip. And they were two demonstrations. One was the communists and one was another group, and they did not fight with each other. But I don't know which group is which. But this was a demonstration that they saw.
The crop is really nice. Not too much sidewalk, but some. The big group is in the middle, kind of, but a little below middle.
I like the space in front of the crowd too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps you feel like they're moving toward
Yeah,
you.
Yeah. Great exposure, even down into the darkest places on my monitor. Good job, Linda.
And this is the other group.
Somehow I think the first one was the communist.
And
Is that a tuba? I can't.
yeah, tuba,
This is
trumpet.
tuba, yes.
Actually, that's not a trumpet, I don't think. I think that's an alto sax. No, it's a trumpet. Sorry.
Well,
There's a
is
sax in the back,
saxophone,
yeah.
Tucked
And-
away between some of the trumpets.
I see it.
This one gets a little soft, I think. The depth of, or the focus looks like it was on that mango in the back. But it's, and this is something I think that sharpening would have really cleared up. It's a good composition. All right.
It makes you wonder what they were protesting for or against with all those musical instruments.
If she were here, she could tell you, but all I can remember was two demonstrations.
Yeah.
Two groups.
Fine.
Just think of some situation, and that's what it would be. As a friend, they just think about everything.
They could listen to.
All right,
Who also?
this is
That's nice.
See where was the next.
Larry. Oh, and Larry's not here. I just said that, I think.
You can lay it down, you can deliver it to the next.
Do you know where this was?
Yeah, it's a big
Yes.
event.
For me, it was. A couple of these were, there you may see some others on this, but the silhouette shot was captured by a couple of different people. But
That was a great day.
yeah.
It was.
Well, and I really appreciated everybody that showed up, and know that some that didn't come just couldn't, but it was a big thing for me. Nice picture, Larry.
I think the back of your head was in that, wasn't it, Susan? Is that you?
I see you in there.
There, I know this person, this,
I think it's somebody, I don't know, I'm not sure.
Doesn't look like your silhouette to you. Or you.
come on. That's,
No,
I think that's Helen.
Yeah, and I think that's
Either
a
one is-
friend of Minnie's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Minnie.
Yeah, that's Minnie.
Or is it Minnie? With somebody who went to the exhibit, it was phenomenal.
It
was
was, it was great.
Thank you.
Great.
We took it down on Saturday. And this is Susan.
So this,
How long was it up, Mike?
2 months, give or take. I mean, yeah.
yeah, I took that picture, and actually, unfortunately, I had also tried to take some of mine, but I had the shutter speed, I needed to cut the shutter speed down, because there'd be pictures of him with his, moving his hands around.
Talking with my hands.
So this was the only one I got from the exhibit.
Well, I like this one a whole lot, Susan.
Really like the composition.
Yeah.
There's 3 elements in the front,
Yeah,
forward
reading
speed, interest on
I did crop it, so.
that. That looks
I like how you got them focusing on the images.
Yeah.
And that was it, I think.
Oh.
Well, I guess I don't get it.
These folks are going to require a kickback of some sort.
I don't get an award for originality, but I have to tell you what, so I was taking a picture of these people, it was very funny. There were all these trucks around, but then I ended up including this picture. And they came up to me and they said, "Are you from the newspaper?" I said, "No." And then at one point, when I was taking shots, one of the guys sort of kind of mugged, kind of made it. But anyway, so I just included this one. Also at F8, but the other thing that was kind of strange was 2 days later, I'm looking at the Washington Post online. And I see what looks like my picture, and I'm going like, wait a second, the computer didn't stick my picture in there. And sure, just in Washington Post, there was an article about them doing the same kind of work in Virginia. And so there's actually a similar picture, it took me a second. I thought,
If you said you were from the paper, maybe they would have put you up in the bucket there. That's a really good picture.
Yeah.
It's really cool that you've got the red and the blue and the yellow.
Yeah, this,
And all of the colors are so beautifully balanced.
And
Yeah.
there's lines coming in from all different,
yeah.
Complementary colors.
right and left, the top and then the bottom.
And at one point, I actually was using, I don't remember which thing in photo elements, but it was changing this color of the sky, and I was like, no, I'm gonna leave the sky, which kind of was the color the sky actually was. Because that's always something where, when you do certain things, it can change the sky color.
well, yeah, this is a great shot, Susan.
That is a photo that you do not need topaz on.
Yeah. Wondered just now what if I can zoom in on this guy's face. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. But I guess I can't do it. All right, Susan, thank you. Josie is up.
This is from the Corpus, this is from the Corpus Christi Day parades in Cusco, Peru, back in 2016. And there are 15 of these saints from 15 neighboring parishes or churches, and they are enormous and astonishing and heavy. And this one, I've used a Canon Rebel T5i Tamron lens. It was shot, if this is number one, if this is the one that I numbered, number one, 55 millimeters f5.6, 1/80th of a second, and ISO 100. And I cannot tell you by now whether I was shooting it on manual or whether I put it on landscape, which I have found really good go-to one.
I love the little kid in the front.
And the little kid in the front, I think, makes the photo. And so I just pretended that I was a photojournalist at the parade.
Did you get a plaque with, let's say, press, hang out around your neck?
Yeah, I kind of hid it. No.
We'll get you in closer.
Looks like a kid is hauling that thing.
Oh, yeah, you see the effort.
You could be right down there with them. You didn't have to be. I could be as close to the people as I am to anybody sitting at this table. And it was a beautiful day, and the sky was that blue.
Mm-hmm.
And those are some of the men carrying that particular one. You can tell how heavy it is. And in front of them, what you can't see are the boys who carry a table, and every so often they'll stop and put it down, and the men will put that on it, and they'll rest.
Yeah.
And then they'll pick it up and keep going, but they're just astonishingly beautiful.
How many were carrying it? How many men?
I would say that there were 10 or 12 carrying
Wow.
each one.
Real heavy.
This guy in the back looks like he would wish there were a few more.
They all wish there were a few more. And you can see that they all have padding on their shoulders, protecting their shoulders and their necks.
That's my backup
I-
it's all on one side.
Mhm.
I think the guy in the middle has the haircut I'm gonna get next.
Oh, yeah.
Fashion forward.
Yes. Just had it,
Well,
Oh, and that was 18 millimeters, f11, 1/125th, and ISO 100.
great shots. Mr. Tom.
The light reflects on their faces. It really picks it up.
Let's see, am I supposed to use that?
It just hit me, Tom, that I think I omitted a couple. I think I substituted the last one you sent me and I didn't get the other two.
Oh, okay. So, so I was at, having breakfast with my friend, and, which I always do on Saturday morning, he gets a phone call from his partner, and he says, I could hear her say, I hit the accelerator, I thought it was the brake. And she ran into the side of that building. And so we got in my car and drove over there. And this is, you know, that craft gallery, the Carolina Craft Gallery at in Carborough.
Yeah.
Well, she hit the side of it, and was quite visibly shaken. I guess if you only have one, it doesn't show so much. But I sent my.
Well, I'm gonna go back to him, Tom. Let's go through the rest of these and then I'll come back to him.
Anyway, this was the, emergency medical, and it was quite a scene, as you know, nowadays. The fire department was there, the police were there, and the EMS people, I guess were there, and were taking care of her. The airbag didn't go off, and she hit her chest on the steering wheel, and they were concerned that she might have had a heart attack or something, and they were doing an EKG. That's an EKG. They do an EKG. So that's that one. She's fine, yeah. Although she was very shaken and had quite a bit of pain, but just local bruising.
I think the back of the man or woman with the EMS on the back of the shirt
Yeah.
has a whole lot to do with telling the story.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I stuck it in there. I wanted to make sure I got one that had something. And on other shots, I pulled back and not too far behind, you could see the corner of the ambulance.
And seriously, Tom, I'll go back to those. I don't want to come out of this and then go back. I'm sorry I didn't get them
No,
grouped.
that's okay.
Didn't get them grouped,
Whatever.
but more comments from you in a bit. Frank is up next. Perfect photo for black and white.
Yeah, this was taken back in November, mid-November. My wife is on the Chatham Education Foundation, and there was a march in Raleigh. There was a petition signed to stop the state government from taking public education funds and putting them to private schools. So I went over there with my camera. I said, I'll walk with you and I'll take some photographs. And this one, I took this both in color and in black and white, and I just preferred the black and white better.
Mm,
I think it just added to the tone of it.
Yeah.
And so this was taken, let's see, it was taken on November 14th. I took it with my full frame 6D Canon. It was taken at 70 millimeter at 1/320th of a second, f7.1, and ISO of 100. And so I just like the look on the people's faces and the signs, and I think it just kind of displays what that day was like.
perfect.
I think there were probably 80 to 100 people there that participated in the march.
Well, very journalistic.
Thank you. Now this is interesting. I came across this town that's up in Warren County. I found it in our state magazine called Soul City, S-O-U-L. And I went and looked that up on Google, and it was founded by HUD, or funded by HUD, back in 1968. The intent was to get more African Americans to move into North Carolina, and they set up this community. This happens to be the medical facility that was set up. It's both medical and dental. And back in the late '79, the town just faltered. They never really got it off the ground. I didn't even know if this clinic ever opened. I think it did, because
I think it did. I grew up there. I mean, I didn't grow up in Soul City, but I grew up in Warrington.
yeah,
And I remember some about it, not huge amounts, and there had been a great deal of federal support for it to begin with.
right.
And it seemed like maybe it was going to work, and then it became politically difficult.
Yeah.
Not because people living there were behaving poorly or anything, but anyway.
They said that part of it too was back in '79 with the economic downturn, kind of put the kibosh on it, and Jesse Helms also put the kibosh on that, and it just, there's still people living there. There is some community there, but I couldn't find a main street, and right around the corner from this building on the side street, there's an assisted living facility that's all abandoned right now. But I just found it really interesting to go up there and photograph this. And again, took it in color and black and white, and I just preferred the black and white.
Yeah, I think you were right in doing that, Frank. This one.
Since we mess around with black and white way back when, I kind of do both and then decide which one I like to go with.
Yeah.
And you can find out more about Soul City too, if you go to YouTube, they have quite a few videos out there too.
Oh, good, all right.
There's a book that's
It's
written
interesting.
about it fairly recently that's good.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing.
Well, this one's kind of in black and white too.
This I took on, what day was it? This was back on February 8th. And this was after my third attempt to go up to Durham to catch the teacher strike. Every time I got there, nobody was around. So I said, the hell with it. I went back to the village, and I was driving by, I see all the cows sitting down. I said, wow, that could make a interesting picture. So I said, well, what would happen if the Farrington cows went on a sit-in? So I took it, and I just put those signs in there, and put the sign on the building in the back, and I just wanted to have a little fun with it. So this This was taken with my Canon 80D, and it was 50 millimeter, 1/400th of a second, and f5.0, and the ISO was boosted up to, I think it was a little cloudy, the 250.
At first, I thought it was Tom's picture.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to play around with, so.
Did you actually put those signs up?
No, I went online and I downloaded a picture of a blank sign,
Oh, okay.
and then I put the lettering in, and then I imposed it inside the picture. Same with the eat more chicken.
Okay, that's what I was
It's a
wondering.
good example of how dangerous fake news can be. It's not a real protest.
That's right. And I figured, oh, should I really submit it? But I want to have a little fun with it, put it in there. I don't normally put 3 in, I usually only go with 2.
Yeah.
That was worth it.
You actually have a sense of humor, Frank. It's good to know you, that part of you. But thank you. And before we go back to Tom's, Lynn's up. God, I wonder where these were taken.
Yeah. More images of your images.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't have everything written down. I know it was aperture priority, but that's about it. So, I didn't have much time, but.
She did get one of me.
Artiste in there.
You did get some, good. that you
That's
did get
nice.
one.
And I wanted to show pictures on the wall in the back.
Yeah.
So you know where it was.
And it's really nice, just thinking, technically speaking, it's so nice that there's that great big window
You can see it.
in the back, but you've managed all of the different lights and
Yeah.
exposure.
But it'd have been pretty easy to blow that out.
Thank you. The lady on the right is, I guess a member there, maybe not for long, but anyway, she's in the Chatham Artist Guild, and it was due to her that Mike had this opportunity, and that's her husband now on the left, so.
That's a really significant group of people there.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Stevie.
Yeah.
We actually walk with Stevie on Monday mornings.
that's right.
Stevie
Ah.
did that, so we actually know him.
And she was, I think it was Stevie was sharing with me, her husband's really close friend had died just 2 days prior. So it was nice that he came. But
Yeah.
I think it kind of tells a story, so, that's it. So who's going to Tom? Is that right?
Yeah, we're going back to Tom. Thanks, Lynn. Stop share. And then I need to go here. Oops. Tom is there someplace.
We never know where Tom is.
That's right.
He's out there someplace. There he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that shows a little bit more of
Yeah.
the state that she was
This
in.
you kind of see how more distressed.
Yeah.
Did anyone notice you taking pictures, Tom?
No, I mean, we're like best friends, and I don't know, nobody, no.
Said anything?
I mean, I was with her partner. And, so I had, that's a good point, I had good total access here. As if I had
Did you
been,
know the woman?
oh, yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, yeah, this is the partner of my friend that I was having breakfast with.
Oh.
And she called him and said, I just ran into the side of the building, come and get me.
Wow.
So that's
I didn't catch that either, Tom.
Okay, thank you, I didn't get that before. And I like the way you cropped it, because it makes her the center of attention.
Yeah, you really got the expression on her face, fortunately or unfortunately.
And then there's this
The
one.
third one there, Mike.
Oh, this is the one that I
That's the
did
other one,
catch.
But there is a third one that shows a close-up of her, and maybe you took it out because I see.
Oh, right here.
That one, yeah.
Oh, wow,
Oh, wow, that tells a picture, tells a story.
she's all wired up.
So she was very upset.
Yeah. I don't blame her.
And that, those purple gloves and all that gear all over the side of that guy and all those wires coming out of her, I thought it was kind of.
Wow. That would be upsetting. I would be distressed.
certainly captured
Yeah.
the event, yeah. She's fine. Of course, she's having a psychological trauma with the adjuster.
Yeah.
Had to get the body work done on the car.
Somebody ran into one of the mail kiosks in Little.
Oh,
That's the most of it.
so, Mike, there is another one that I really would like to see.
Was it one you sent to me in a,
Yeah,
te-
yes, and same thing.
so, well, maybe
There you
it's,
go.
oh, this
At
one,
the
yes.
bottom,
This is called irony.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen these signs going up everywhere, especially in Chapel Hill, and every time I think to myself, who could do that? Who could do that? Who could be that cruel to put up a sign that says that? So anyway, I've been thinking about humans being at war with nature, and there's the thing about the first victim of war is truth. And I was thinking, if that's true, then the language must be the corpse. And there you have it. It's like nothing. Does nothing mean anything?
Well, there is a school of thought that is, and I hope I'm not offending anybody saying this, because it's not what I believe, but there is a school of thought that says God gave humans dominion over everything.
Yeah.
So if ones want to cut down trees, they can cut them down and the devil take behind us.
Yeah. Well.
And I find that.
Yeah, but having given the,
For a lot of it's in the world.
It's the original.
yeah,
Anyway, I was driving down, incidentally, this is on MLK in Chapel Hill. I was driving along on a Saturday morning and I thought, oh my God, I gotta stop. So I pulled over in that church near Homestead and walked back and was standing out there in the traffic trying to get this picture. Anyway, I thought that's.
sorry I didn't get them grouped up. All right. We made it. Good meeting.
Yeah. Today is my birthday. I'm 80.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, what's his name? Happy birthday, dear Tom.
Oh, really? I'm loving it. So, I know I was late because I was having breakfast with my brother, and gave me a birthday present, and he's giving me a really nice collection of photography books. And this is the one I got today, and I'll stick it back here.
Hold it up so we can see.
Susan and I were talking, I think it would be a good idea to bring in our photo books and put them back there and let people look through them after the meeting or before the meeting.
Oh, I had one other thought, because I turned off the mic. You remember last year in April, I think it was, we had a potluck. Would there be any interest in doing that again?
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
spouses and significant others were invited.
It was
and
wonderful.
That was fun.
I'd be happy to host it again,
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I don't know when.
I'll cut back on the cookies and brownies.
They're
too big.
Yeah, I want Lynn's brownie.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll talk about it later. Okay. One other thing that I've noticed on Nextdoor, Timothy Darrell has had a number of his, shots that he's posted, and ironically, they have not been black and white as his usual thing is, they've been color,
Posting
so.
on Facebook too.
Yeah, and I wish he had been with us today to talk about it, because he, had never shot color and was having to learn it, and, he's obviously learning it.
Happy birthday. Who is this?
Timothy?
Timothy,
Yeah.
AP. recorder.
All right, what's the next challenge?
Candles.
Candles?
I think it could be.
Yeah, whatever you.
Yeah.
I thought it was bridges.
Well, I messed up.
Let me check the list.
I've already done candles.
Hmm?
I've already done candles, so I hope it's that.
Oh.
Yeah, what else was candlelight? Then fences with that.
Does it specifically say candles or candles?
It says candlelight.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So if you just have just a picture of a candle with wax,
That's okay.
That's pretty good.
All right, so it is candle light. That might be a candle, or it might be the light thrown by a candle. Anyway, thanks for a good meeting. Sign off.